we've reached the point in our presentation to get some updates from EPA, general updates of Portland Harbor. So I'd like to pass it over to Mady Novak, an EPA remedial project manager and the interim Portland Harbor team lead, to provide those updates. So over to you, Mady.
Yeah, thank you, Danny, and thank you, Cassie, for sharing. Really, really encouraging to see our up and coming generation showing leadership like that. Really appreciated seeing that clip. As Danny noted, Caleb Schaefer, our team lead for the Portland Harbor, is on a 4-month assignment, a temporary assignment. He's up in Seattle in the Water Division, and during that time, I'm filling in as team lead. My name is Mady Novak, and I'm a remedial project manager and have been on the Portland Harbor for quite some time. I really appreciate the opportunity to continue on in this role for a few months. I have over 20 years of sediment cleanup experience, and it's really my passion, and I'm just excited to be part of moving this project forward. I'll also mention, just in terms of progress on the site, I don't know if you want to scroll down to the do we have a progress note on slide here, or is this the only one? That's fine. I can just note that we have been making progress on, oh, there we go. Thank you so much. The project areas, the designs in the project areas, we now have moved one of the project areas into 60% design. That's River Mile 11 East, up at the upstream end of the Portland Harbor. And, really moving along in all of the design investigations. Many of them are complete, and a few of the project areas in the 30% design. So really making some progress. I think, did Kristen drop the, yeah, it's the link to this is in the chat as well. And I'll also just mention, folks may be familiar with the story map. There haven't been any recent updates, but I really encourage you to continue to share the story map with others, and would really appreciate any feedback on that, any input on updates or additional elements that you'd like to see us capture in that story map. If you joined us at 5:30 or after, you may not be aware that the Community Impacts Mitigation Plan outline is available for review. That is something, there will be more opportunities to provide input on that plan, but we started by providing an outline. And if you are interested in providing input on that, we would appreciate that by January 8th. And I think that's been provided in the chat as well. Another update, the Superfund redevelopment update. You may be aware that a reuse situation assessment was conducted for the Portland Harbor, and that involves summarizing information from gathering from interviews of community members, tribes, municipalities, just a lot of engaged participants in the community, and looking at future use goals, land use context, local initiatives, reuse considerations. And that report is just about assembled. It'll record what information has been gathered, and that should be available pretty soon into 2024, probably January 2024. And that will be available for people to review and reflect about the next steps on that front. And I'll pause there and see if anybody has any questions or thoughts they'd like to share. Thank you so much. That wraps up the updates from EPA.
Great. Thank you so much for those updates, Mady. And just a brief reminder that we will have 2 breakout rooms after this meeting, one in which you can ask any follow-up questions from this update or from the main presentation, and another one where you can give some feedback on the community impacts draft annotated outline. So if you are able to stick around for either of those, we would really encourage that. Next slide, please.
Oh, I see. Did someone come off mute? Did somebody have a question? Just wanted to allow for some time. Sarah, possibly? No, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Do have a question.
Oh, good. There you are, Sarah.
I do have a question. So a few of us are working with the city on the economic opportunity analysis, where we're looking at industrial lands in the Portland Harbor in specific. And I was wondering if you were aware of that and how that might be interplaying with. So we don't really know, I would have to say, as a community member, like, I actually don't know what you're thinking about in terms of redevelopment. I mean, I know maybe we've talked about it a little bit, but I don't really understand what that means on what lands, how it impacts existing creeks and beaches, whether it would be mitigation. I mean, I just feel really like I don't understand what that means and what that will mean to communities.
Right. So there's a number of ways that that the Portland Harbor area could, the look of the land and the use of the land could change over time. And as it relates to the cleanup, certainly there will be, you may see some changes in riverbanks. Most of the change will occur underwater, but some of it may occur on the riverbanks, either to stabilize banks or to address mitigation concerns, like you mentioned. And those will come about through each of the designs that are being developed in the 17 different areas. But some of that work can also dovetail with work that upland property owners are doing, right? And so I don't know that the cleanup work, in the water would directly, it could indirectly impact the development upland. So it's sort of a dovetail. Does that make sense, Sarah? And we could probably dedicate some time in a future meeting to talking, more specifically about select areas, if you'd like, and explaining that a little bit further.
Well, one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is that someone from the city at the last meeting said, well, there's going to be money perhaps from the super fund to redevelop industrial land. So that was just a comment he made. And so but we can take another time to really understand what that may mean.
Yeah, that sounds good, Sarah. And I can reach out to the city and find out a little bit more about what was being referenced there too.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Great. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Mady. We'll make a note to follow up on this topic at a later time.